A lot of people don't know where their food comes from or know
like
how,
why they should care.
yeah, why should I care about this? The produce seems fine at the store. I've been eating it for 30 years and
Why should they care about it? Like, what's the number one why?
Our potential, it's exponential.
Hey, what's up, guys? Today we have a very special guest. Noah Seigel is in the house. He is amazing. He's a grower and really, really deep and wise in so many ways. So I'm really excited to share with you. Noah, let's get into it.
So I always say that everybody's a farmer. They just don't know it yet. Everyone's a grower. But me personally, my story happened. I took a trip to Thailand when I was 18, and it was kind of like we went out and helped people. Basically, it wasn't associated with any religion or anything, but it was just we go out and we help people. And one of the things we did that impacted me the most was we built a permaculture plot for a school that was high up in the mountains, and the school was far away from any grocery store or any like places to get produce. So they didn't have fresh produce. The meals that they had there were always like instant ramen and rice and meat. They had meat because they had cows wandering and chickens everywhere, but not really access to fresh produce. So we designed and built a permaculture plot for them, and I could see the impact that had on the children, and that alone sparked my interest and just feeding people. Feeding people is one of the most spiritual things you can do, in my opinion. Giving somebody food is a beautiful thing. Neem Karoli Baba said famously that God comes to the hungry in the form of food, and I've always felt that. Like just giving somebody food is so spiritual. It's like the act of offering and watching the plant grow, seeing it as a seed and seeing it as a little seedling, and then seeing it grow up and harvesting from it and getting nutrient from it and then giving that to somebody. It's just like nothing better.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Yes. So tell me, what are you doing? What are you into right now? I know you do so many things, but like what do you do right now getting into the season?
So we're a CSA at the Fruitful Field. So we do garden shares, and our garden shares start in November.
Where's the Fruitful Field?
It's in Pompano Beach.
Heck yeah.
And anyone can come out at any time. Just come and hang out. A lot of people don't know that it's there because it's very hidden, and it's in like this crazy neighborhood, and it's like located behind a church, but it's like 6 acres of beautiful organic farm with a bunch of fruit trees everywhere, and it's like it's right on 95. So no one really knows about it, but when you come, you're like, this is here? How is this here?
It blows everyone's mind.
Yeah, because it's like so random in the middle of like all these houses and a church. I just found a guy in Florida who does, he brews his own compost tea specifically for hydroponic. So, because the thing that I don't like about hydroponics is, the chemicals and the solution.
The inputs.
Yeah. And they're not like OMRI listed or anything like that. And this guy makes like an OMRI listed. He makes his own compost tea, but it's like 1-to-1 with hydroponic solution. It's not just like general compost tea, so I can use it and like still give the produce away, knowing that I know what's in it and that it's good. It has all the minerals and things in it.
And it's a compost tea.
It's a compost tea, but it's like he amends it and makes it in a certain way that the ratio that there's minerals and everything that a plant needs, just like the hydroponic solution. So we're building that now. It's solar powered, off grid. Yeah, it's good to have about 120 tilapia in it. And we use that mostly not for our CSA, but just for education, because we have a youth program. It's called Grow City Youth. We give high school teens first-time job experience, so we pay them. We have a amount of money to pay students that come, and we teach them how to grow. And it's a 12-week period. I'm trying to get it that we can have enough funding to do it for the whole season, just so the kid can actually see like start to finish a full season. You can learn a lot in 12 weeks, but I'm trying to get the full season. But still,
Yes.
it's a great thing. We do like entry level tests. We like go around the garden and we give them different leaves, and we have them. I try to identify like, what is this, and then we like assess them, and we use that as like a benchmark. By the end, they know like, this is rosemary. This is a leaf of a mustard plant, or this is a leaf of tomato, and they know how to cook. We do cooking classes. They know the importance of soil health and organic practices, but they're also getting paid, which I think is really cool.
Huge.
Yeah.
You know, so many, you think about when you were in college and all these jobs, starter jobs, you get paid $100 a week,
Yeah.
stipend. You
Yeah.
know, it's like, that's amazing.
Yeah. And these are all high school kids. They're like 16, some of them 15 years old, to 18. We limit it within high school
Amazing.
so that like no older people can come. And we also limit it that it's their first time job experience, because I think there's like, kids get afraid of their first time job, and we want to make sure that it's enjoyable, but they learn about, we do salary or resume building, so they know how to make a resume.
Wow.
And we bring other people in from the community to teach what they're doing, like financial advisors and other like lawyers and things like that, to just give them other job opportunities and talk about different jobs. But yeah, it's a beautiful thing.
That's amazing, man.
Mhm.
I love like all the ripple effect these gardens have.
Yes.
But you especially, man, you like are a stand-up citizen, like active.
I'm nothing.
You are beautiful. No, it is true. Like I feel like you reach out to politicians and you try to really make a difference. Like, how important do you think that is for making change?
Reaching out.
Yeah.
I think all of the change that we need is just by the people. And demand. Demand is one of the biggest things. If we want to talk specifically about growing and like conventional farming, I think demand matters so much in the system. Like a lot of the reason why we have this conventional methods of growing is because we demanded that we have strawberries all year round, or that we have tomatoes all year round. Like a lot of people don't know that there's seasons for tomatoes and there's growing seasons for cucumbers. But when you go to a grocery store, they're always there. You always have cucumbers, and that's weird. It was when I started growing food, I was like, how do they have cucumbers all year round? But they're growing in these ways that are so unconventional and destructive to our soil and our environment. And it's partly our demand. So when people ask me like, what is one thing I can do to help the system, I say, only buy in season. Whatever you buy, whatever produce you buy, see your region, see your grow zone, see what's in season, and buy that. And then if everyone did that, the demand of having these foods all year round would go down, and the farmers would then not have to do that.
I love that.
Yeah, so that's one thing.
Amazing solution. Yeah, I'm not eating mangoes right now.
Yeah.
Because I try to live by that too. I'm eating avocados. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not perfect, but
Nobody's perfect.
I love that approach.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So what would be a good thing people can support? Like, you know, CSAs, people don't know about this. Like these like, you know, we go to the farmers market and stuff. Like, what's a good way people could support their local communities and their farmers?
CSA is good. CSA, if you don't know, stands for Community Supported Agriculture. So it's literally what it is. And most of the time, what a CSA is, it's a commune of different growers that come together, and they usually give out produce or meat or eggs or milk in shares. The fruitful field is strictly produce. We only do produce. But though eventually we might do fish.
Tilapia.
If our aquaponics, starts pumping, would be a sustainable form of fish. So that's community supported agriculture. And yeah, farmers markets are always good. But it's good to know the sources, because there's a lot of, and you've worked the farmers markets for years. You know that like some vendors just like unpack the boxes from the grocery store and like put them in other boxes and do that. So it's good to know like, hey, was this grown locally in Florida, and did you grow it? How was it grown? You can ask those questions to the people selling the food. So that also is an aspect. Yeah, farmers markets, CSAs. I actually do think buying organically is really important. There's a lot of, people say what they want about organic, but it is better than conventionally grown produce. So buying organically if you can. And that's the thing with me is the big part of our tragic system that we're in is the people that need the organic produce the most can't afford it. The low income families, the homeless, they can't go to Whole Foods and buy, all this organic produce because of the price and, the accessibility. So, like, part of what I love to do is be able to provide that food specifically to that demographic. There's like something that I've been going back and forth with the board at the Fruitful Field, and in my mind, it's like, I want to like strictly only give to that demographic and like exclude everyone else, which like everyone's like, no, you can't do that.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I don't know.
What's your thought process behind that? Because they need it.
Because they need it. Until we can be in a system where everybody can get it, I just want to target them.
That's amazing.
Because the other person that has, is the middle class, can afford that, can go to Whole Foods and buy the organic produce and be okay. But I want to target the people that can't go to Whole Foods or have to go to McDonald's for their kids and, every single day because they can't afford that.
Dude, I love that. Yeah, I love that. Yeah. And on that point, I remember having all these fruit trees when I started this, urban abundance. I was like trying to plant fruit trees for people. And I started to have a little nursery of like 20 trees behind my little apartment complex. And I was thinking like, man, we need these trees in the ground. We need people to like, these people in these apartments, there's no food around here. Like, and I just started planting trees in like, without asking anybody, like in the parks and stuff. And it's amazing once you like have like a strong will to like create the change you want to see in the world. Like when you want to be like the one to start living in that world.
Yeah.
Don't you feel that?
Yes, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Knowledge is like the biggest proponent of that as well. Like a lot of people don't know where their food comes from or know
why they should care.
Yeah, why should I care about this? The produce seems fine at the store. I've been eating it for 30 years and
why should they care about it? Like what's the number one why?
Why should we care?
Reasons.
So that's a good question.
Yeah.
A lot of reasons.
Is it our planet? Is it like, for our next generations? Is it?
Yeah. I mean, you could say everything and anything. Immediately, I think, why I care is, I think it is our innate purpose on this earth. Our beingness is literally happiness and love. And there are things we could be that happiness and love. It's innate in us. Our true being is that love. But there are some things that help us along the way to be more established in that. One of that is our health of our physical bodies. If you're in constant chronic pain and feeling sick all the time, it's harder to be in that state. Not saying that it's impossible, but it's harder to be in that state of oneness and love. So getting our health in order is first. And diet is such a big part of our health. It's more and more studies are coming out that it's the biggest part of our health. The Rodale Institute stated that 90% or more of all chronic illness is from diet.
Wow.
I'm one to say that it's 99% of all chronic illness comes strictly from diet.
Yeah.
Just what we eat.
These guys, Mark Hyman and stuff, they're talking about it. They're saying this is number one.
Yeah.
And all the food lobbyists, they're like the biggest lobbyists. So
yeah.
It's huge.
Yep.
Knowledge, man. People.
Yeah, and it's just knowledge, and being in a place, like I always state that I know nothing, but being in a place where I can, guide somebody or tell them this is how the system is. It's up to you, to decide what you want to do. But I'm just gonna lay down some things that are happening in the world, and here's how our food grows conventionally. The majority of our world grows like this. Here's how we're growing here at the Fruitful Field, and choose what you want for your health.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. Yeah. It's so funny you say I know nothing. All the wisest friends I have, it's like I know 0.1. Andy always says I know like 1/trillionth of theirs to know.
Matt says that too.
He's a G.
Yeah.
Speaking of Matt, man, they just got hit with that storm.
Yeah.
And I know your folks are over on that coast.
Mm-hmm. Devastating.
Yeah, man. So we send love over to you guys. I know you guys will grow and make it happen. We're here for you. We have genetics and all of it. But yeah, Matt, and we just did a podcast with him, and he just went in on it. And anyways, he says the same thing. I know nothing. I think the closer you get to nature, the deeper you get, the more you realize that.
Yeah, the like non-dual perspective of saying I know nothing or I am nothing is like, this body, mind, is incomplete. The knowledge that I share is incomplete. The only true knowledge is the oneness within that knows everything and knows nothing and is nothing. And that's so, I'm in my master's degree right now. One of my classes was like
What's the school you go to?
it's Maharishi International University. So
cool.
it's big in consciousness. Consciousness is interweaved into all my classes. This class I'm taking now, which is about research. So I was really interested to see how they view research. And like every single thing is like, we can research and we can learn, but what we gather is not complete. That's not the full knowledge.
That's like a common theme.
Yeah, if we want to get the full knowledge, we go inside and feel the oneness in the being, and that's the actual truth. It's interesting that I love that they do that.
Yeah.
Because there's like scientists that spend their whole lives trying to figure out what consciousness is or grasp these concepts and find more things and gain more knowledge. And going back to nature, like everything that you ever need to learn is in the tree. I always say the tree is like the best guru. If you look at a tree, it sits there. It seemingly does nothing, but it does everything. It provides shade, it provides mulch that turns into compost, it provides us with oxygen, it provides us with fruit, and it's just sitting there like this.
It's not gonna have an ego trip.
It's not afraid. It's not worrying about its deadline for a meeting. It's not trying to like call somebody or get in a relationship. It's just sitting there and it does everything, and it's nothingness. It's like a beautiful thing. And if you just like go out in nature and just like ponder a tree and just look at a tree and just you learn everything you need to know.
Beautiful. And Noah, we have limited time, so we should get into it.
Yeah.
Tell me about your experience in New Mexico.
Yeah.
And
The earth ships. Yeah.
Tell, please.
I recommend everyone just doing a quick Google on earth ships. It's an architectural style of building that was started in the 1970s by a man named Michael Reynolds. And he saw that there was they used to sell beer in steel cans on aluminum. And he saw that there was a bunch of steel beer cans around on the floors and throughout the streets in New Mexico. And he's like, maybe I can build something with this because it's steel. So he like fabricated a brick out of it and then built a first house with it, and like a hut. And that was like the spark. And then from then on, he was like, how can we make this more functional? So basically an earthship is they call it an earthship because if you were to go into space in a ship, you would need these things. You would need electricity to be comfortable. You need electricity, you need plumbing, you need food, you need comfortable temperature, you need water. So the Earthship harbors all of those things strictly with the Earth's natural phenomenon. So for example, an Earthship catches its rain on its roof, and then it gets filtered and for drinking water. But then also when you use the shower in the Earthship, that gray water then goes to the front of the house and waters your plants. The plants filter the gray water, and then that water goes to your toilet and you use it to flush. So your water gets used 3 or 4 times before it exits your house. And when it exits your house, it goes to the front into what's called an EBT, where you plant fruit trees, and the fruit trees use that water and grow fruit for you. It uses passive solar, so the Earthship stays at a constant 71 degrees all year round. I was literally in a blizzard in New Mexico. It was 71 degrees on the inside. There's no heater. There's no fire. There's no AC. Nothing. None of that.
Passive.
Perfectly 71 degrees. I was like in my underwear, just chilling, seeing snowfall. It wasn't a fire. I was like, this is pretty safe.
In New
in
Mexico.
New Mexico in a blizzard in a desert.
So you could grow bananas in there.
All of them have bananas in New Mexico.
You live large. People don't realize you live large when you grow food. Like, I
Yes.
don't think, you know.
Yes.
So tell me so also tell me, Noah, about your you brought me this amazing gift today, and I
Yes.
appreciate it,
Yes.
from Ram Dass's memorial.
Yes.
Tell me how has Ram Dass inspired you?
So the backstory on that scarf, I was in New Mexico doing earthships, and my friend, we're in the master's degree together. He's actually the manager of the farm at the Neem Karoli Baba ashram in Taos. It's the only Neem Karoli Baba ashram in the U.S. And if people don't know who that is, that's the guru of Ram Dass. And if people don't know who Ram Dass is, he's a spiritual man in the West. His name was Richard. He did a lot of lectures about love and spirituality and his journey from being a Harvard psychologist to transitioning into more of a yogic guru. And I was trying to find a way where I could grow food all year round. So in the summers, it's hard to grow a lot of vegetables in Florida heat because it's so hot. Fruit trees are great, mangoes and whatnot. But so I was trying to find a place where I could go in the summers to grow. And New Mexico, specifically Taos, New Mexico, is the exact opposite growing season than Florida. Their season like starts right when ours ends and ends right when ours starts. So it was perfect. And I met with that guy, and I knew of Ram Dass, of course, and I knew of his guru, and I visited. And like when I got there, it was like instant connection. The manager, his name's Hanuman Das, really good friend of Ram Dass, was like, "You need to be here, so you're gonna stay." And I stayed for like 5 months. And farmed, and he was like, "You need to stay until this exact date because we're doing the memorial of Ram Dass on that date." And because he died in 2019, but with all the COVID and whatnot, people couldn't come and do the proper burial that they wanted to do for him.
That's right.
So it was divine timing as always. And when I was there, I got to be a part of the ceremony, and those scarves were given, and he was buried in an urn. It was a very, very special ceremony, and a lot of people, like the author, or not the author, the publisher that wrote or that published Be Here Now, was there, and I got to meet him. Really cool guy. He like had to fight so hard to get that published at the time that it was published. A lot of his friends were there. Really, really magical experience, and that scarf came from it. And that's your scarf.
Bro, thank you.
Of course.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. And he was telling you he was having trouble publishing the Be Here Now.
Yeah, in the 70s, if you've read that, you have that book.
Super.
It has some things that at the time and in that era, people were like, "What the heck is this blasphemy?" Blah blah blah. And so like the publishing agency was like, "No, we cannot publish this. This is too
too far out."
Yeah.
Wow.
But he was like, "No, we need to get this going," and the guy like fought for it.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a special experience, man.
Yeah, it was.
Wow. Wow. So Earthships really does go against houses how we have them today, right?
Yeah. All the houses that we have built now, it's so weird, the development of housing, how we've just pushed further and further away of like the natural phenomenon of the earth, pushing water away. We have gutters that like put it out into the street or put it down into a French drain.
We could collect that water.
We could collect the water. We could collect the sun that's always beautiful and shining on us. We can collect the sun at different seasons, like how the passive solar works in the Earthship is like during the summer months, the winter months, no, the summer months, the sun's higher and it's pointing down into the greenhouse. So it's not heating the main part of the house, but in the winter, when the sun's lower on the horizon, it's pointing into the back and charging the walls with the thermal mass walls with heat, so that when at night it gets cooler, all that thermal mass that was stored comes out and regulates the temperature. Our insulation of our houses now super thin. Our value, we use gas, we use wood to burn. Electricity. Even just the electricity system, we could talk about how we have a grid, running wires. you lose so much energy when the further distance away you are from like a power plant, the more and more you have to keep pumping. The voltage goes down as you go further away on a wire, just how it works. So the wires don't really even make any sense at all. Grid doesn't really make any sense at all.
So why do we do it? It's easier, convenience.
I mean, there's a lot of speculation on like the development of electricity, and like you can go back to like theories of like Tesla and Edison, and like things like that, and talk theories about like, oh, it was all for money and capital gain and control, blah blah blah. But we're here now, so we just gotta work with what we got. And I think just going back to what we have the sun. I mean, solar energy is becoming so cheap. It's almost like, why don't we just all use it? Even if it's just like to subsidize a little bit of our energy consumption.
Totally.
It's free.
And it's free.
Yeah.
And once you get the infrastructure in.
Yeah.
And you could got like a hurricane comes through, perfect example. I'm on a well, there's a pump that I'm not getting water,
Yep.
Having rain, it got me thinking rain barrels is a great.
Yep.
And we were just talking about it. You said there's some counties that don't even allow rain collection.
Yeah, like they will. I personally know someone who got in a $10,000 lawsuit because they collected rain from their roof. And to me, that's just like the biggest stab that you can do. Like, how can you tell somebody that they cannot collect rain, which is like a God-given right from the earth? You can't. How can you control rain? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's just thinking about that. I'm just like, how can you even
It's wild.
do that?
The government, it's all theirs at the end of the day sometimes.
Well, so they say.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's an illusion.
Yeah.
Totally.
So,
until they give you that $10,000 fine, son.
Yeah, and it's sad. It's a sad day.
We got to teach neighbors and stuff. This is normal. This is normal.
Yeah.
This is a God-given right.
Yes, it is.
Totally.
Rain. It's what makes everything. It makes the earth go around. Is water.
Yeah.
How can you restrict someone from harvesting their own water from the sky?
Wow.
So like they say like they don't want you off the grid because you're paying for the grid. They don't want you to collect your own water because you're paying for water. So at the end of the day, a lot of these structures are based around money. But to get away from money, I think is one of the biggest goals. We used to not have money. We used to live without money. We were all one, and we were all friends, and we all shared. And we use money to pay for anything, but we don't have to do that. Nature provides us with literally everything that we could ever need in our lives. Literally everything we could ever need. And I think just showing people that is also really important as well. That and that's what kind of an earthship embodies. They're off the grid. They don't get anything, but they have everything they need. Oops. Sorry.
No, you're good.
They have everything they need, and they get everything they need. They get their food, they get their water, they're comfortable. They have electricity. They could have Wi-Fi if they wanted to, if they had something they needed.
Yeah, amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So getting away from money is a huge one. It's like that's why I got into woofing and farming in the first place. Like, so cool.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, we could, we could exchange.
Barter.
Yeah, barter. That's like, it's like, wow, we don't need, the Federal Reserve or whatever.
Yeah.
And it was so cool. So, and I think that totally sparked so much for me in my journey. Like, what is that like, seeking out of like that, like lifestyle and stuff taught you? Like,
Yeah, it's taught me a lot. There's times where I try to only, eat from what I gather or what I harvest. And that teaches you a lot.
Wow.
What's his name? Ben Greenfield. Rob Greenfield.
Rob Greenfield did that for a year.
He did that for a year. That's a really good video. If anyone, you should watch that video. It's a good one. He did that for a year.
I gave him his first jackfruit.
Really?
Jackfruit. Yeah, I think he was like, I think this is my first one. He's like just getting to Florida.
Oh, nice.
And he did it.
Yeah.
How long have you done that for?
a couple months at a time,
Wow.
not a year. That's awesome that he did that. I mean, we
Really?
all strive to be in a place where we can just do that, right?
Totally.
And it's possible.
What
He
was a
did
lot
it.
of your meals?
Um, Lots of vegetables, lots of fish. Because like in Florida, we're lucky enough to be able to catch fish, right?
Amazing.
So and like the meat sources is another big topic. Like veganism and all of that is another huge topic that people go back. There's like all these diets, like the carnivore diet and blah blah blah. Everyone thinks that they know the right diet for you.
And then it's different 3 years down the line.
Yeah, and it's always changing.
Totally.
Me personally, I'm a pescatarian by choice, and what I do is I limit myself to only eating fish that I personally catch.
Wow.
Um, so like the beginning of this month or the beginning of August, I went to Alaska and caught about a good amount of salmon. If you want salmon, I have some.
Amazing. I'm in.
Locally wild caught. I literally caught the salmon. Was able to sacrifice it in an honorable, respectful way. Share the oneness with the fish. Thank the fish for giving me this protein, and just be connected with nature. And we're
Alaska.
yeah,
That's
Alaska,
beautiful, bro.
dude.
Wow.
Have you been?
No.
You need to go.
I've wanted to.
You should come next time with
I
me.
would love that.
Yeah, we should do it.
A fisherman invited me when I was in Hawaii to come up, and I was like, man, I was trying to. And it didn't work out.
It's like
I'm coming.
almost untouched in some regions. You're like, I'm in the thick of it.
Way up north.
Yeah, like I'm not high up here.
So now you got a bunch of. So you catch your own fish. So that's a great resource for you to live on.
Yeah, and
salads and stuff. So that's what
yeah,
you're.
salads. And I'm here in Florida. Someone somewhere else in like a desert climate or a landlocked area can't necessarily do that. So, they have to just assess what they have and be around. And that's why a lot of people move to the coast because of like our innate attraction to the water. The Blue Mind is a book about that, about like how the Indus River Valley civilization all around a river, we're like innately connected to water as a source, but also like we get fish and a food source from the water.
Right.
But not everyone has that. So yeah, just connecting what you have, where you are.
Sure. Yeah. That's amazing, man. Yeah. So, Noah, what else would you want to share with the people?
You're perfect. And you're exactly where you need to be. And the love that you need and the happiness you seek is innate to you. It's who you are. That's what I like to share.
That's beautiful. You know what does that for me is yoga. Do you do yoga at all?
Yoga, the word yoga literally means yoke, to commune, to connect.
Connect.
That's what yoga means. The Sanskrit word is yoke, to find communion to God, the universe, whatever word you want to put to it, to find that communion to the essential being.
You're already perfect.
Yeah, it's literally who you are. Before anything, the I am, before you say any other word that colors anything, that's literally exactly who you are. Hatha yoga is more traditional, is what we do in the West. It's like all the asanas and movement. Traditionally, the Hatha yoga was used to then prepare your body to meditate, to be meditation.
Wow.
But there's like at this ashram in Taos, they do bhakti yoga, which is devotional yoga. So it's all devoted to a certain guru. And by devoting yourself fully to the guru, you can become one with the guru, and then the guru is one with everything else. So then you become one with everything else.
Wow. Who was the guru there? It was
Neem Karoli Baba.
It was.
Yeah.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
Wow. So Noah, are you going to build an earthship here in Florida one day?
If I can, I would love to.
What are the what would make you not be able to do it?
So basically just the regulations, the state regulations on architecture and building is my biggest component, because the tropical model of the earthship is actually a hurricane and earthship resistant model. We built them specifically in Puerto Rico and in Haiti for hurricane resistance. So they're way more structurally sound than any of the buildings we have here in Florida. But the regulations on gray water catchment gray water is the water after you shower or after you wash the dishes. That's considered gray water. Black water is after you use the bathroom. So the earthship uses the gray water to water plants and flush the toilet. And a lot of cities don't believe that that should be a thing that you're allowed to do, because of possible, contaminations or E. coli or things like that. So there's the barriers to entry on building an earthship in Florida are strictly just the regulations, because architecturally, the structure itself is very, very sound and can be checked off by an architect really fast. It's all the systems within an earthship.
Got it.
That's the barriers.
The code person comes in and says you
Code.
can't.
Yeah.
This component isn't. Got it. Wow.
Really funny story. They did an earthship in Canada, where it gets very, very, very cold, and an inspector came to look at the earthship when it was finished, and he came in and took off his coat and put it down and inspect the house. He was like, "You don't have a heater." He was like, "Yeah, we don't have a heater, but it's 70 degrees in here and it's perfectly fine. And you took your coat off, it's comfortable." He was like, "You have to have a heater." So the guy went to the store, got a heater, put it in the house, didn't even plug it in. Inspector checked it off. He's like, "All right, you're good." He went back to the store, returned it.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. You needed a heater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Things like that.
Wow. What about the homeless person on the street? Do they need to have a heater for his livelihood?
Yeah.
It gets crazy.
It is crazy.
Wow. So what could we do? Could we write the governor? How could we do and get that people's mind turning about functional building?
Awareness is a thing. I mean, earthships have been around for almost 50 years, and not a lot of people know about them still.
Right.
So the reason I wanted to do one in Florida was specifically as a visitor center, just to share knowledge, both on regenerative agriculture and on earthships, because they go hand in hand really well. So people could see and understand and get inside. One's like, "Oh, it's cool in here. Interesting. How is it cool? There's no AC unit and there's no fan." Get them wondering about what's going on. So that's one thing. And
Amazing.
then for I've emailed the governor a lot on this matter. But it's a hard place to be. I'm one person. I'm requesting this kind of ridiculous hippie, commune style hut hut for them to approve.
Great.
But there's so much science involved in the engineering process of earthships. If I could just have an opportunity to explain how it works and the science behind it, because there's physical science behind everything they do. It's been tested several times by different entities, third parties, blah blah blah. A panel just to explain that, and maybe they could be more open to having that.
Totally. I could see that happening.
Mm-hmm.
Heck yeah, man. Be the change. Noah Seigel. Noah, is there anything else you'd like to share with the people?
You're perfect. And you're exactly where you need to be. And the love that you need and the happiness you seek is innate to you. It's who you are. That's what I like to share.
That's beautiful. Noah, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.